The second way we're going to look at solving quadratic equations is by factoring. Now, when we're doing this, what we're actually doing is we're looking at the zero product property. And what this means is this is essentially anything that's multiplied by 0 is going to equal 0. So if we can create two brackets and then make one of those brackets equal to 0, then when we multiply by 0, we're going to get, again, 0. So if we create a situation where we have two brackets equal to 0, if either this bracket or this bracket ends up equaling 0, so if x plus 2 equals 0 or x minus 2 equals 0, then this whole equation is going to equal 0. So when we look at this, if we're solving these equations, so for the first one here, we've already got it factored. So all we have to do is then create a situation where 2x minus 5 equals 0. Well, that happens at x equals 5 over 2. We switch the sign here and divide by what's in front of x. Okay, so the second bracket, we have or, because they're not going to be the same time, x plus 1 equals 0. So that would be x equals negative 1. We switch the sign, divide by what's in front of x. Okay, so if we look at this one's a little bit harder just because the question's not done for us. So we need to factor. We need to find two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. So that's going to be x plus 3, x plus 4. That equals 0. Then this is going to produce x equals negative 3, switch the sign, or x equals negative 4. If we have to check our answer, we have to check both answers. So for x equals negative 3, we'd have left side equals negative 3 squared plus 7 times negative 3 plus 12. So that's going to be 9 minus 21 plus 12, which is 0. The right side is also equal to 0. Therefore, x equals negative 3 is a solution. Now let's check x equals negative 4. And we'll do it the other way where we've got left side, right side. So the right side equals 0. The left side equals negative 4 squared plus 7 times negative 4 plus 12. That's going to be 16 minus 28 plus 12, which is 0. Therefore, x equals negative 4 is a solution. All right, and that's how you do a formal check for those. You check both solutions. Okay, if we looked at these, for number 3 here, we're going to have to put everything on one side. So g squared minus 8g plus 16 equals 0. We need two numbers that multiply to positive 16 and add to negative 8. Well, that's going to be negative 4 and negative 4. So we could either write both of the brackets, or we could put x minus 4 squared equals 0. And in this case, x equals 4 is our only solution. All right, moving across here, we got to collect like terms again, put everything on one side. Minus 5x plus 2 equals 0. It's a little harder because we have an a value. All that tells us is that one of the brackets is going to start with that 2. And now if we do an AC chart or just kind of guess and check, we know that the second one has to be 1 and 2. This has to be 1 and 2. So when we go through it, we're going to have two negative signs here, and we're going to work like that. So then x equals, switch the sign, positive 1, divide by what's in front, over 2. Or x equals 2. Okay, the biggest part of this unit is getting back to factoring, getting back to understanding what's going on, how do we factor, okay? Because that's going to solve all of these equations for us. So let's look at this one. This one is actually super easy if you recognize the factor first. Okay, all we have to see is that there's an a value in both of these. So we can have a, and then we get 3a minus 5 equals 0. Now, everyone's going to get that this is going to be a equals, we switch the 5 to make it positive, divided by 3. But a lot of people actually miss that the second one, this is actually a set of brackets. And we could really, if we wanted to, we could write this as a minus 0 or a plus 0. So all we have to do then is make this equal to 0, that whole bracket equals 0. So if it's written like this, a equals 0 makes that bracket equal 0. That bracket times the whole second bracket would create a 0 equation. Okay, try the last few on your own. And if you want some extra practice, you can try factoring these values just to try to see how well you can factor. Okay, all of these factor, so you should be able to do all of them. If you pause the video, I'm going to go through and put the solutions on. So you can pause the video and try, and then you can go back and check your answers. So this first one, we're just going to factor out 3x and get x minus 5. The second one is a difference of squares, so it's going to be x minus 6, x plus 6. Third one, we need two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to negative 2. We're going to get x minus 5 and x plus 3. And then finally, this one's a little harder. We have to get our 3x here. We get our x there. And now we're going to have minus 7 plus 1.